Hey, how's it going everyone? My name is Brandon Clements and welcome back to another video here on Glasshand. Today we're going to be taking a look at my mocap workflow, how I like to use motion capture data, and how I like to apply it to another character and also attach a rig to it so that you can be able to edit all the mocap data afterwards, because as we know, mocap data is great, but sometimes there's some slipping or sliding or things that we need to adjust. So today we are going to use a paid add-on. I know for Blender, you know, that's kind of sucks, but you know what? It's one of the coolest tools I've ever used. So it's definitely worth every single penny, and it's going to save you a ton of time. Also, we're going to be using characters from Mixamo. So if you haven't used Mixamo before, where you been, man? Where you been? It's basically one of the largest libraries for motion capture data. I just downloaded the mocap dude and then this cool character here. And we're going to take the mocap guy's animation from what you see right here, and we're going to attach it to a rig that we're going to build with AutoRig Pro. So let me show you AutoRig Pro, where you can buy it. It's on the Blender Market, of course, and it's amazing. Like, there's so many features in this. Trust me when I say it's one of the coolest rigging add-ons I've ever used. There's so much here. The developer, Artel, also has another really cool product. Oh, actually, sorry, maybe it's not Artel. Oops. Nope. Let me bring this one up because I want to share this one with you guys too. In conjunction with AutoRig Pro, you can use this animation layers, which is another super cool add-on, which is kind of like animation layers in Maya, where you can basically you could have mocap data and then you could add a whole nother layer of animation on top of that and blend different animations. So I just wanted to show you, this one's $28, and definitely buy the full 40 because you're going to get the smart remap and the FBX export, which is just worth every penny, like I said. Okay, on to the video. Sorry about the introduction, but hey, I thought you guys needed some good info. So I've actually made my screen larger for this tutorial. Aren't you guys proud? Aren't you guys proud that you can actually read what I'm doing now? I'll try to yell out the button commands as well. I know there's an add-on for the button commands and stuff, but sometimes I find it a bit distracting. Okay, so we're going to go to File, Import. We're going to go to FBX. In my downloads, I have these horribly named animations. So I'm going to select this first one, and what you want to do is make sure under armature that you have automatic bone orientation set up. That's a big one. You're gonna want to do this, or you're not gonna have a good time. When you import this, everything is gonna look good. You're gonna see that the bones for the face are actually coming outwards. So what you could do is you could select the bones, hit tab to go into edit mode. You can hit 3 on the numpad to go into the side view, and you really don't need these bones here. You could select them and delete them from the rig. These are, like I said, the face bones. We don't really need them, but I'm gonna go ahead and leave them. There's also like these relationship lines. Anything in Blender that is showing up as like HUD or things to help you, you can turn on and off basically under the gizmos or this overlays. So the relationship lines are right here. You can tick those on and off. Those are the dotted lines. You can also hide the bones if you want to. Okay, just some things that I thought I should mention. Also, we can come up here and show the texture. And if we go over to Eevee, you can see this guy looks super wonky. And the reason is because if you look in the materials, I know I'm covering this, so let me open this in the shader editor real quick. So if you go to the shader editor and you come down, you're going to see that there's an alpha texture that got plugged in here but from the FBX. You can go ahead and nix that by holding Control right click to do the knife tool to cut that connection. And then you can also come down here. I know I'm covering up a lot of this stuff, but if you come down to settings, let's see, sorry, it's not under settings. Where is that guy at? It's actually, viewport display. Okay, viewport display and then settings. Roll out. You just want to change that to opaque. because it's trying to do like alpha blending because of the map that was plugged in. Okay, so if that was bugging you, that's how to fix it. Let's go back and change this to the timeline. Let's view the animation. So it's looking pretty good. Everything is working exactly how we want to. Our import settings are great. I'm going to call this Mocap animation. That bugs me when I don't spell things correctly. Okay, and we're going to make another collection by hitting C on the keyboard. And we're going to call this collection, I think it's a ninja, right? Let's go ahead and import that guy. Let's go to File, Import, FBX. And it's this one here that's named really poorly. And automatic bone orientation, we'll import that. And let's hide the first one and take a look. And you can see that I actually imported this with the animation. So what I'm going to do is just delete the animation. There's a few ways you can do that. What I'm going to do is come down to the animation track and just select delete. And you can see that it does take away the animation, but he's still in the last pose. So if we grab the armature just in object mode and come up to transform, nope, sorry, we don't want to be in object mode. We have it selected. We're going to hit Control Tab to go into pose mode, and then we're going to go to pose, clear transform. Okay, and that's going to take it back to his bind position. And now that he is in the bind or rest position, whatever you want to call it, we're going to take his mesh. We're going to go to the modifiers, and we're going to take the armature modifier off. And if we try to delete the armature, you can see all the transforms and stuff are messed up. So the way to do this is you want to grab the mesh, which is kind of notated by this mesh icon, which is the green triangle, and then this is like the actual transform, like polygonal data. So let's hit Alt P on the keyboard, and we're going to clear and keep transformations. Okay, so that takes it out of the hierarchy and allows us to get rid of the armature. So now we're back to the bind position. We're ready to actually bind him, and this purple outfit, man, it is just, I have to change this right now because it is so weird looking. What I'm going to do is just come into here, and I think this probably was like a glossiness roughness thing. So I'm going to hit Shift A, and I'm going to type ramp, and I'm going to put that into the roughness, and I'm going to come down and I'm going to flip that color just because that was driving me insane. Okay, so we're good. We're ready to go now. So we're going to start using Auto Rig Pro. Auto Rig Pro, you're going to want to make sure that you come up to Edit Preferences. Once you download the zip file, you're going to want to unzip it because there's actually two different tools. If you buy the $40 one, there's two different tools that come with it. And if I just type Auto Rig, we're going to see it here. So we have the Pro tools that you're going to want to install after you install the Auto Rig Pro. So unzip the file, target this guy. You can actually, when you come into install, if you're not a Blender user, you can go to downloads, and you can actually see these are the big zip files. So you want to unzip those. You want to get the Auto Rig Pro Master, and you can just select the zip file and hit install. Same with the rig tools, and those should load up for you just fine. And then you want to save your preferences and then close this. And it's going to show up, if you hit in on the keyboard, it's going to show up in the right hand side. You can see I got all kinds of add-ons and tools. And it's going to be this Auto Rig Pro right here on the bottom. For me, it's on the bottom. Maybe on the top for you. Okay, so we're going to start rigging this. What we want to do is actually do the Auto Rig Pro Smart Tools. So this is why you want to pay for the big selection on the Blender market, because we're going to do a full body, and you actually want to select the object first, get selected objects, or else you're going to have that same error. We're going to add a neck in here. So once you hit add neck, your mouse becomes locked to this Z axis. So you want to make sure you're centered, and I'm going to put that around his neck. I'm going to click add chin, put that around his chin. The shoulders are going to actually fit into his shoulder area here, and then add wrists, spine root, which is going to be the base of his spine, so probably right around there. And then we're going to add in the ankles. Okay, that looks really nice. And then we're going to go ahead and click go. All right, now we have a basic skeleton here. And so if we go into the top view by hitting 7 on the numpad, you can see everything's looking pretty good. We're already in edit mode. If we hit 3, we can see that all this stuff is looking pretty good. This is a little far back for his spine, but I think it's okay. If you wanted to adjust this, you can just select the bone and tap G on the keyboard to actually move. You can constrain it to an axis by hitting Y and just push it forward just a little bit maybe. And I think from the top view, this is looking pretty good. I may want to just hit G, tap Y, kind of move this into the center of this volume. And I like to have a slight bend on the arms for the IK solver and also on the knees as well, just to bring them forward a little bit. So all of that looks pretty good. I think that's going to do us well. So we'll go back into object mode by hitting tab. We're going to go into the rig rollout here. So we're on rig. We're going to say match to rig here, and that's going to actually build an iconic representation for our character, which is pretty sweet. And you can see that the IK controls are actually kind of hidden a little bit. So if you select that and then say edit shape, actually we can select both of these at the same time. We're going to hit edit shape. Then, sorry, it only does the last one selected, I guess. We're going to type S to scale. Just hit that on your keyboard, apply the shape. We're going to come over here again. We're going to edit this shape, S to scale. So that looks good. Apply the shape. Same thing with these controls. Like if you find that they're inside of the fingers, you can just do apply to shape and then move them out. Okay, so that's how you want to be able to edit everything. I think our rig is looking pretty good. We can go ahead and test it out by tapping G and just see that, you know, all of this stuff is moving around. Our bones are hidden right now, which is just fine. What we're going to want to do next is start to skin the character to this rig. So let's go ahead and jump back into object mode. We're going to select our character, the mesh. We're going to shift select the rig. And I just like to grab this bottom circle here that actually positions him in the world. You can do different types of binding methods. You can do a heat map. You can do voxelization. And then there's this voxel heat diffuse skinning. It's another add-on. Definitely check this one out because it's pretty cool. But I'm just going to use heat maps for now. I think it's going to be just fine. And then we're going to hit bind. Notice there's some other options here for scale fix. We can do selected bones only. All these options definitely you would want to mess with. You have stuff in here for the eyeballs, selecting the eyeball objects and stuff. So if you didn't want that actually skin to the rig, that's how you can do that. And then we're going to go back into pose mode by hitting Control Tab, and you can see that everything is correct and it's bound to our mesh. So it's looking good. And notice everything is in IK mode right here. You can change in the preferences of Auto Rig Pro. You can change like what you want the default to be for that arms and legs. You can do just IK or FK. If you want to switch between IK and FK, what you want to do is select the rig itself. Then you can come down to, let's see, under Tool. Actually, you want to select the object, obviously, that you want to switch between. So I'm going to snap these to FK, to forward kinematics instead of inverse kinematics. Forward kinematics just means that the parents are going to influence the children. So if you type R on the keyboard, you can see that the parent is influencing all the children bones. If we go back to IK, you're going to want to hit G to move around the inverse kinematic. So you can see that the child now influences the parent, such as the elbow and the shoulder. So those are the differences if you're new to animation. There you go. Quick explanation. And I'm going to leave that in FK just to make our retargeting a little bit easier. I'm going to show you how to retarget to IK as well. But we'll just go ahead and leave that for now. Okay, so our character is basically rigged up. It's looking pretty sweet. And we want to, again, go back to our main goal, which is retargeting to this animation. So let me go back into object mode. I'm going to push this guy off to the side. And then we're going to go back to Auto Rig Pro. We're going to go to remap. So this is how we're going to remap everything. Our source armature is, as you can see, it's just called armature right here. And our target, what we want to actually influence, is underneath here. So it's just called rig. So you could select it and then use the eyedropper tool, and it will go ahead and place that in there. Okay, so if you've used similar tools in the past, what you want to do is build a bone list so you can start creating relationships between the different rigs. So it's really easy here. You just hit build bone list, which is great. And what I want to do is come down here to the import, to the mapping presets, and I just want to come down to Mixamo. This is FK arms and FK legs, because this guy is all forward kinematics. There's no fancy inverse kinematics. It's all rotation data. That's where all the animation lies. So let's go ahead and change this to Mixamo FK arms, FK legs. And it actually changes the target bones and everything. It knows exactly how to retarget this. And since this is FK arms, FK legs, our rig is FK arms, FK legs. Okay. So there was another message I just want to show you real quick. And it says imported, but some bone presets do not exist in the armature, such as head top _ in, left eye, right eye. That's totally fine for our situations. It's just telling us, hey, these things can't be matched up. Totally fine. Okay, so the other thing that we want to do is just make sure that we hit auto scale. What this is going to try to do is match the scale between these two characters, and it usually equates to a better retargeting. So I'm going to go ahead and hit auto scale, and you can see it kind of made this guy a little bit smaller. And let's go ahead and hit retarget and see what happens. And we're going to do frame 1 to 77. That looks good. Okay, and there we go. It's looking pretty sweet. We can go back into just the viewport shading mode to get a little bit faster playback. The reason why our character is looking black and white is because if we select the mesh and go back down to shader editor, it's because I had the color map selected. So if we select our main color texture, then it will actually show up in the viewport, in case that was bugging you. So it's looking pretty good. All in all, everything is pretty much matched. What I would do is just kind of comb through this a little bit. So let's do, let's set our timeline. Let's come in here and actually see what's looking a little wonky. And we can fix that. It looks like his hands are clipping together. So what I would do is come into pose mode, Control Tab, and let's grab his shoulder, basically. In case you want to be able to snap to this really quick, there's this refresh button, and it'll actually snap it to this arm, which is great because under interactive tweaks, we want to hit this eye, and we want to be able to rotate this out a little bit. So let's say +X, and that's looking pretty good. And then let's do the same thing here. We're going to refresh the list, make sure we have right arm selected, and then we're going to hit +X a little bit more and see if that helps it. Yeah. And that's just a quick way to do some just slight tweaks on our target. So if we go and we select the hips here, we just want to move this down. Let's just set our multiplier to 1, and let's set this to 0.01. And we just want to move this down a little bit because I think, yeah, he's floating. So we want to hit -Y. Oh, sorry, that's the rotation. Let's Control Z and come down to location and just move him down a little bit. And that will help us plant him onto the floor. So then when he collides with everything, the collisions are much better. Okay, yeah, just some simple interactive tweaks. Now the great thing about this is in your projects, you're gonna need to, be able to change a lot of different things. So I'm going into wireframe by hitting Shift Z, and you can see that his finger is kind of twisted in a really weird way. So let's grab this FK control, and I'm gonna change the timeline to graph editor. And let's look at the animation in here. So I'm using Control middle click to go left and right to make the timeline shorter or longer, and then up and down to actually, make this taller or shorter. And if we untwirl all of this stuff, you can see that there's location and scale data in here, and that's stuff that we don't even care about in FK. So we're gonna go ahead and delete that and come back into our rotation data. You can hit period on the num key pad to actually zoom into this and frame everything. And what I want to do is just kind of spin his finger a little bit. And I think that's probably not the X. I think that's the bend axis, but I think it's the Y. So what we can do here is actually pretty interesting. Let me show you. You can select everything, and then you can come up to, let's go to key, and you can do, let's see, there's some options in here. I'm looking for smooth keys right here. I actually attach these to the quick favorites here, so we can do smooth key, and then we can also do decimate ratio. And I'm going to add those to quick favorites by right-clicking on them. And then if I hit Q, just in this context alone, we can jump to these quick favorites. So you can smooth the keys, which is really nice. And then we can also do a decimation. So if I drag to the left and right, you've noticed that there's a little bar that shows up. We can actually, you know, kind of prune some of these keys out of here. So we don't need all of these. So I'm going to go to like 70%. We're just going to knock that out. We're going to hit left click to actually confirm those changes. And that's just going to make it a lot easier for us to come through and make changes to it later. You know, actually do like old school keyframe animation, which is amazing. So let's go back to the beginning here. And I'm going to go back into shaded view. And I believe it is on the Y that we want to change. So let's just select those keyframes, and I'm going to hit G on the keyboard and Y to constrain it to the up and down axis, and just kind of like pull that finger in a little bit. And then these keys we probably don't need, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those. You can hit R to actually spin the keys, S to scale the keys. You can also hit V, V as in violin on the keyboard, and set this to automatic. And then that will just kind of make everything flow a lot nicer. And you can do that overall. Okay, so we got a nice curve here. We fixed that finger from spinning out so far. Let's go ahead and maybe make some more tweaks. Okay, so that first keyframe, yeah. So it's looking good. And you can go through and tweak this. This is great for meshes that are really different, you know, like these two meshes are completely different. His proportions are more realistic and his proportions are more cartoony. So that's a great way to go ahead and make alterations and changes. Okay, so this is all fine and dandy, but what if you wanted his arms or his legs to be in IK mode and retarget them in IK mode? I can show you how to do that really quick. It's actually really easy with this add-on. Again, another reason why this is so amazing to just purchase it. It's the time you're going to save is worth the money. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning. I'm going to hit shift and then left arrow on the keyboard to go to the first frame, and I'm going to flip this back over to timeline, and we're going to, instead of retargeting all of this with FK, I'm going to switch this all to IK. So let's grab his controller here. We're going to go over to tool, and we're going to snap this to IK. And so if I play the animation now, you can see that his hands stay in place, which is a great thing about IK. Obviously, you want to be able to have those objects planted somewhere. Like if he needs to pull himself up or do any other kind of animations. Okay, so now that we have his left and right arm set to IK, we're going to come back to AutoRig Pro, and we're just going to have that selected. We're going to refresh our list. Oh, sorry, it actually doesn't work on this. We need to grab our source. So let's grab his left hand is what I'm looking for, and I think that is like the tiniest little bone here. So nope, that's his thumb. Left hand, there we go. Left hand, so we need to retarget that to the left hand over here. So let's grab that, and what we're going to do is use the eyedropper. So you can see it says FK left right now, hand FK left. That's incorrect. We want to use the IK. So let's use the pick object to switch it to IKL. And then we also have to tell it that it's an IK, and we need to pull target. So the pull target is the orientation of the elbow, like the twist of the arm. We're going to grab our pull target guy here and hit the eyedropper. Okay, so let's just continue with doing the other side. So I'm going to go back into object mode, go into pose mode, select the right hand by refreshing the list in pose mode. Control tab to get out to object mode again. Select this guy, control tab. This is his, as you can see, C_IKR. So that's what we want to select. We swap it there. We also enable IK, select the pole vector, and there we go. So with all of that set up, we're just going to hit retarget. We're going to say 1 to 77. This add-on does a great job of clearing everything out. So after we hit OK, let's see what this looks like now. And there we go. It's in IK mode. So it's pretty sweet because I can grab this now and actually make changes in IK. So if we go back to the timeline, sorry, not timeline, graph editor, and look at this, we don't need the scale information, so I'm going to go ahead and delete those keyframes by hitting X on the keyboard. And there we go. So all this animation data is now cooked down and baked into every single frame. And like I said before, you can use those same tricks to kind of simplify these curves, go in, make alterations to everything. But it's looking actually really nice in IK arm mode and FK leg mode. So FK would be great for his legs because of the arcing motion of him running. And then the IK, you know, you could use it to plant him on something, or, you know, you could use that other plugin that I showed you, the other add-on, to do animation layers. So maybe his he's waving or something. I don't know. I have no idea. You can have fun with it. Do some really fun animations with this. Let me know in the comment section if you guys liked this video. Let me know if you like the larger UI. You can watch it on a phone now and actually follow along. I hope this video has helped you a lot in your mocap animation pursuits. I know it's helped me a ton. And I have to say this because pretty much 100% of my viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So please, if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you want to see. I'll try to make a video as soon as possible. So thanks so much, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.